Australia Weather Pulse here, bringing you the latest on Queensland's ongoing heavy rainfall situation. Across central and southeastern parts of the state, the persistent rain continues to heighten the risk of flooding. Right now, our severe weather warning for heavy rainfall spans a significant area, from the central interior down to the southeast. Conditions within this warning vary, so we can divide it roughly into northern and southern sections for clarity. In the northern section covering central interior Queensland, rainfall over 6-hour periods is expected between 40 mm and 60 mm, with isolated spots possibly reaching around 90 mm. Moving southward, rainfall totals increase, with 6-hourly amounts likely ranging from 70 mm to 120 mm and isolated peaks reaching up to 180 mm. These heavy rain events are projected to continue today and extend into tomorrow. Focusing on the southern portion of the warning, this includes the Maranoa and Warrego regions, Darling Downs, Granite Belt, parts of the Central Highlands and coalfields, southern Capricornia, the full Wide Bay Burnett area, and sections of the southeast coast, including the Sunshine Coast and some Brisbane suburbs. These regions are the most likely to experience the heaviest rainfall in the coming 24 to 48 hours. The main driver of this wet weather is a low-pressure trough moving through Queensland, pulling significant atmospheric moisture that fuels both rain and storms. Later today, another low-pressure system may form off the southeast coast, enhancing moisture inflow and directing more rainfall across the Sunshine Coast up into Wide Bay Burnett. Thunderstorms developing near or north of the trough will also influence rainfall intensity. Where storms occur, we could see the most extreme rainfall totals. Across the southeast, locally intense rain remains a possibility over the next couple of days, depending on storm development. For areas south of the trough, widespread rain is more likely. The movement of the trough itself will ultimately dictate the highest rainfall totals, and which areas experience the heaviest rain. As evening approaches, expect the most intense rainfall to form over the Sunshine Coast, progressing north into Wide Bay Burnett and southern Capricornia. Another low system, remnants of a tropical low that recently crossed the coast, will move in from the west over the Central Highlands and coalfields. Heavy rain will persist through Monday morning, gradually easing as the system shifts toward the coast overnight into Tuesday. Stay tuned because the next segment will break down exactly how much rain is expected across different areas and what impacts this could have on communities and infrastructure. Looking ahead to the rainfall expected from midnight last night through Tuesday morning, widespread moderate to locally heavy totals are anticipated across central and southeastern Queensland. This includes parts of the Central West, Central Highlands and coalfields, Wide Bay Burnett, southern Capricornia, and sections of the Sunshine Coast. Naturally, the highest totals will depend on the exact track of the trough and where storms develop, but areas north of Brisbane are currently at greatest risk for heavier falls. It's important to note that these figures represent just one model's forecast. Actual rainfall may vary depending on the trough's precise movement and the formation of thunderstorms. Regardless, the combination of prolonged rain and storm activity will bring significant impacts over the coming days. Flash flooding will be a major concern, particularly where the ground is already saturated. Rainfall can accumulate rapidly, leading to dangerous driving conditions, road closures, and even sudden inundation of low-lying areas. Residents should exercise extreme caution, especially in the southeast, as these flash floods can develop with little warning. Beyond immediate flooding risks, persistent heavy rainfall may result in property and infrastructure damage. Roads, bridges, and buildings in vulnerable areas could experience water-related impacts, and with several days of continuous rain, riverine flooding may develop. Several flood warnings have already been issued, with rivers rising in some locations and expected to rise in others. Currently, minor to moderate flood warnings cover areas between the Sunshine Coast and around Gladstone, particularly across the Wide Bay Burnett district. These warnings overlay broader flood watches and warnings across Queensland. For instance, the orange and green areas indicate ongoing minor to moderate flood warnings along the east coast, while purple zones highlight floodwatch regions across northern and eastern parts of the state. The floodwatch serves as an early alert, signaling where riverine flooding could emerge in the next few days. As rainfall continues, these warnings may be extended or upgraded. Staying updated with the latest advisories is essential for safety. Keep checking the Bureau of Meteorology's website or the BOM weather app for real-time forecasts and alerts. In the next segment, we'll break down how these heavy falls are likely to impact specific towns and communities, and what areas could see the most severe flooding and storm-related issues. This is critical information for planning travel, safety, and preparation. As we move into the heart of the wet period, specific towns and communities across central and southeastern Queensland are facing the highest risk of significant rainfall and flooding. The combination of the low-pressure trough and potential thunderstorms means that some locations could see sudden, intense downpours, while others experience more prolonged, steady rainfall. Areas such as the Sunshine Coast, Wide Bay Burnett, and southern Capricornia remain particularly vulnerable. Rainfall rates here could reach the higher end of forecasts, with 6-hourly totals of 120 millimeters or more in isolated spots. These downpours can overwhelm drainage systems, leading to rapid urban flooding, road closures, and disruptions to everyday travel. Communities in low-lying areas or near rivers should remain alert, as flash flooding can occur very quickly, often with little warning. Further inland, including the Maranoa and Warrego, Darling Downs, and parts of the Central Highlands and coalfields, widespread rain will continue, though totals are slightly lower than in the coastal regions. Even so, with the ground already saturated in many areas, localized flooding remains a real threat. Roads may become impassable, and river levels could rise steadily over the next couple of days, impacting farms, infrastructure, and communities alike. Thunderstorm development north of the trough will also play a key role in local rainfall extremes. Where storms form, short bursts of very heavy rain could produce localized flooding, meaning that rainfall totals may vary significantly over relatively small areas. Emergency services are monitoring these zones closely, ready to issue further warnings if rainfall intensifies. The ongoing situation is dynamic, and rainfall totals could shift depending on the trough's movement and additional low-pressure systems forming off the southeast coast. As the weather system gradually moves toward the coast overnight Monday into Tuesday, we can expect a slow easing of rainfall along the southern parts of the affected area, leaving patchy showers across the Sunshine Coast and other coastal regions by Tuesday morning. In the final segment, we'll look at the longer-term outlook for Queensland, including potential continued flooding, river monitoring, and the steps residents can take to remain safe and prepared through the rest of the week. This is essential viewing for anyone in affected areas to plan their next moves. Looking further ahead, Queensland is expected to continue experiencing wet conditions, with ongoing risks of both flash and riverine flooding in the coming days. Even as the main low-pressure system gradually moves off the coast, scattered showers and storms may linger, particularly across coastal and inland districts that have already received heavy rainfall. These lingering showers could maintain saturated conditions, adding to the cumulative impact on rivers, creeks, and drainage systems. The rainfall totals over the next few days are likely to remain significant. For areas such as Wide Bay Burnett, southern Capricornia, the Sunshine Coast, and sections of the Central Highlands and coalfields, residents should be prepared for continued moderate to heavy rain. Some isolated locations may see the heaviest totals where thunderstorms develop, particularly north of Brisbane. This means that even as overall rain decreases slightly, the risk of sudden, localized flooding remains high. Authorities have emphasized the importance of staying informed through official sources. Flood warnings and flood watches may be extended, updated, or upgraded as conditions evolve. Rivers are still rising in some areas, and the ground remains saturated, so even moderate additional rainfall could lead to hazardous conditions. Keeping track of alerts and planning travel or outdoor activities carefully is essential to ensure safety. Beyond immediate rainfall impacts, Prolonged wet conditions may also affect infrastructure and property. Roads may remain slippery or partially submerged. Bridges could be affected by high water, and localized erosion or water damage to property is possible. Residents should avoid driving through flooded areas, take precautions around rivers and creeks, and follow any guidance issued by local authorities. As the weather system gradually shifts off the coast overnight into Tuesday, showers will become patchier, but heavy rainfall and storm activity are not yet fully behind us. Staying vigilant over the next few days is crucial, especially in the areas that have already experienced significant rainfall. Stay with Australia Weather Pulse for continuous updates on rainfall totals, flooding alerts, and storm developments. Keeping informed and prepared is the best way to stay safe while this active weather pattern continues across Queensland. Don't go anywhere. Our next update will break down any new warnings and give you the latest on where the heaviest rain could hit next.